Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to see you guys here and everybody in chat. Looks like we got another good group in chat.
Yeah, we sure do.
A bunch of people with no lives.
Coffee on a Saturday morning, hopefully.
Like us, yeah. Nothing better to do on Saturday morning. But glad you're here because we always have a good time. And I finally gigged Dennis. If you haven't seen my update, go watch my update and you'll see what I did to him. Everybody should get it that's on this show, should know.
Yeah. Unless you don't watch enough of my videos to get it, I guess there's a possibility of that. But
Well, he got me, remember when I fell off my creeper underneath the layout and spilled all the screws and then hit my head on the bottom of the layout and spilled my beer? He got me on that one, so I had a payback coming to him.
Yeah.
Mine's not as good as what he did to me, but I made him laugh really good, so that was all I needed.
He did.
Well, he was wiping tears. He was crying.
He was wiping tears, and so that made it all worth it.
Yeah.
I probably laughed for the first 2 minutes of the video. Other people,
I knew I'd get you.
I'm sure I'm the one that will find it the funniest of everyone else.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
I think we're going to start seeing more of those on videos now.
I'm all for it. I will be grateful to see as many pointers on videos as we can. I'm all for it.
Well, Steve, why don't you go through the lineup there?
Oh, wow. Good morning, everybody. We got John Tanzillo, Rob T-Man, Allison, good morning. Schuylkill River Valley John, Dave, DES Multimedia. We got Almar, Bernard, and I think that's everybody. I know I missed somebody. Always miss somebody. Dwight Curley, got that. Who'd I miss?
Wigwag.
Wigwag.
You think it's Wigwag?
I didn't see Wigwag.
Yeah, Wigwag Workshop's here.
Welcome, Wigwag.
Yes.
Say.
Fred Wild's here.
Happy Valley Hobbies.
Happy Valley Hobbies. Oh, that's a new name. Welcome.
Yeah, you guys are all popping in real fast.
Yeah.
Wigwag.
Well, everybody's waiting until it went live.
You got to explain more what a Wigwag workshop is. Say that fast 5 times.
No, but I wish I could find an HO scale one that worked. I would love to have one of those on my layout because I remember those as a kid. The old Wigwag signals.
Uh-oh, we got Heath in here.
Yeah. You couldn't smell him?
Heath is the most observant person you will ever meet in a model railroad chat. He wants to know why Claude is not wearing blue.
Because Claude's the captain, that's why.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah.
That's because I'm cool.
Well, we deliberately left him out of the text message that Jerry and Steve and I coordinated.
Heath, I'm just cooler than those guys are. I'm wearing the brand. I'm wearing the brand, Yeah. Actually, I wear this around the house a lot, so it's a comfortable shirt. But yeah, that's why I've got this on. I always try to have a back on track shirt on when I'm on here. What you guys can get, by the way, if you want, from the Teespring shop. And I think they just call it Spring now. But they're still there if you want them. And they're not marked up. I don't think we make much money on them. I marked them all down so everybody can just get one if you want one and not pay as much as you have, as a lot of other places charge. But anyway, we don't have anything necessarily to talk about today other than Steve. Huh?
Do we ever?
No. We always end up with something.
Wigwag Workshop says he has a lot of hobbies that I wigwag between. Plus, it's my favorite crossing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I remember him as a kid for sure.
Fred Wild says he didn't get the blue shirt memo.
No, I didn't get that memo. I didn't even notice they all had blue shirts on.
I didn't either.
Sad that is.
For you.
I didn't either.
I did.
Oh, Jerry did. Mr. Quiet over here. He gets it.
Yeah, Jeff. Big Bad. Oh, the locomotive's wearing blue too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I show you where? Here, right here.
I was going to say that size of pointer works real well in that.
So
reference
what's
there.
up with the pointer? Did somebody give you a hard time about not having one?
Oh, see now Jerry hasn't seen my update.
You gotta watch Claude's video.
Well,
I saw
watch
there's
my-
context. You know, there's context there, and
I saw Claude's video with his pointer.
Yeah.
Dennis has a pointer now.
Yeah,
Steve,
I had three of them.
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I told him the only thing I should have done was had two other people come in and be pointing them from different places at the same time.
Yeah, he just making fun of me and my pointer.
Oh,
I was trying to get him back for the beer thing he did on me,
I guess
which was
I didn't-
pretty good, by the way.
I didn't know about the beer thing.
Yeah. Hey, Lynn's got a question. He said, "Did you guys hear about the UP special passenger train derailing outside Los Angeles station?" No, I did not.
Mm-mm.
No,
A
was it
special
bad?
passenger train. Ooh. No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Did anybody get hurt?
No,
No.
no, I didn't
Hey,
hear
good
about
morning.
it.
Good morning, Brian.
Hey, Brian's here. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Happy Brian wants to know, Steve, did you ever get your steam engine working?
Oh yeah, it works great.
That's old news, man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Works great.
There you go,
Great.
Steve. Allie said, "Careful, you might lose it with your re-railer." Your pointer.
Yeah, could be. That could be.
Well,
It's about the right size for the re-railer.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, we're actually talking about his N-scale re-railer, which he lost long. That was the whole reason for the shirt that we made up. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the yellow one that Shannon sent me.
Yeah.
That's
You still
the
haven't
one.
found it, have you?
I never did find it. I even cleaned up everything and never did find it. I think I threw it away.
Accidentally.
No, that's not good.
No. I made a big metal one for this.
Well, yeah.
That's what I thought you were in reference to.
I can't lose that
Talking
one.
about the re-railer and the huge pointer.
Yeah. Well, for N-scale, you got to have a re-railer, and for
Yeah.
HON3, you really need one because the cars are so much bigger than the trucks, and it's really tough to get the HON3 stuff on the tracks. I have trouble all the time, and I finally found that one place that had some. They were the only ones I found, so I bought two of them, and Dennis has one of them now.
Yeah, and I moved.
Dennis,
around.
can I just say something, Dennis? Dennis,
What's
I
that?
appreciate the fact that you use the pointer for your layout. It's very helpful.
It is a very good idea. Yeah, it is a
helps
very
you.
good idea.
I got that from Rob Bennett.
Doing one of these things.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
and it keeps the camera from.
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible. People take tips from Dennis on this pointer.
Jeff, the railroad enthusiast. Steve, I have a question. How often do you have to take it apart to replace tubes or things like a bigger steam locomotive inspection?
Well, hopefully never. But these little boilers do have a lifetime, and you generally don't. If you take care of them, they'll last 20, 30 years. But you got to use a boiler treatment. They're not like the big locomotives where you got to, do an inspection every so many years.
You also only use distilled water.
No, there's a boiler treatment. I got some in here, but you add it to the tender water, and it attaches to all the sediment in the water, and will have it settle to the bottom, either in the tender or in the locomotive. And so when you're done at the end of the day, you blow the boiler down with the blowdowns, and all the sediment settles to the bottom of the firebox area, because that's the lowest point in the boiler, and it'll blow out that sediment. But no, generally there's really no set servicing on the boilers. If you take care of them, they'll last a long time. There's the only problem they have is if you have a steel boiler with copper tubes, that can be an issue because you get some sort of a metallurgic thing that goes between it. But generally, no. But you want to take care of the boiler. It's like the engine in your car. And
You got to scrub it out.
No.
Well, I tried to ignore Heath, but he wants to know. He doesn't think he can watch the show anymore because he didn't know we had a Steelers fan on the show. I'm not sure who he's talking about. He might be talking about me with the shirt, but I don't even watch the NFL anymore.
I never did. I hate football. I never.
I love football. I watch college football all the time, but I don't watch NFL.
Like I say,
I used to watch
Heath is more observant than most people.
Okay,
just count on Heath instead of paying attention to what's being said to look at anything and everything in the background. And
there we go.
He even knows what shoes I'm wearing. I guarantee it. Heath knows what's on my feet right now.
Sandals. The same thing that's on my
football
feet.
fan.
Okay.
Football fan.
Oh, man.
I can't believe, Keith, you're a football fan. Are you a football fan? Hello to Dwayne and Crazy Joe. Good morning.
We got Anthony, Georgia Sunbelt, too. Good morning, Anthony.
Anthony, what's up, Georgia?
Oh, Anthony's here. Good to see you, Anthony. Yeah.
John Tanzilla's in here, too.
John Tanzilla. A lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, Happy Valleys wants to know if you're wearing Crocs.
No,
I'm wearing Crocs. He's just wearing flip-flops.
Ophos.
Ophos.
Yeah, that's the best.
Is that what they smell like? Like Ophos?
You got them too?
No.
Ophos, see? Ophos.
But kind of expensive, but they're worth the money. They are extremely comfortable for somebody who's on their feet all day.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was something similar with Steve and Dennis. I just didn't know what it was.
They don't like gravel driveways, though.
What don't they like?
Gravel driveways, because I'm always walking around here watering, and I'll wear out one of these every summer. I happen.
Yeah, mine are wore out. I need to get another pair. I just haven't do it yet.
They don't
in the summertime, I never wear shoes.
Wore out?
What's that?
How do you know when they're wore out?
You start getting rocks in your feet.
Mine have got splits in the rubber on the sides. It's just here before long, one of them's going to give up and break and won't work at all anymore.
Yeah.
Hey,
Wigwag's heading to a G-Scale swap meet today. That would be fun to go to a G-Scale, because I'm not G-Scale, but I think that would be fun to go to. I like G-Scale. I just don't have any of it, but I wish we had some swap meets around here, or even just some train shows would be nice.
I would love to have an outdoor garden railroad if everything were to work out where I would get this completed, like maybe by age 60, I would consider maybe getting a simple outdoor if I thought I could get away with it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. She's watching.
She might be.
You got enough on your plate, Dennis. You're going to be a while with that one.
Dennis, is your wife in chat?
She was earlier. She's ill today, so I don't expect her to take part.
She was here early on. I'm not sure if she's still here.
Yeah.
She's that would be fun. Excuse me.
Dennis, you're a Steelers fan?
I am, yeah. Lifelong.
Are you from Pennsylvania?
No, if you're curious about the story, I live in an area where basically everybody, their dog and their brother-in-law is a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so I remember, in the late 70s when I was in grade school, there was a a kid by the name of Jim Bob Hopkins, obnoxious little brat who was a diehard Dallas Cowboy fan. And, we played football in the schoolyard. And, of course, in the late 70s, the Steelers were the team.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so it was a real easy decision for me to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan instead of a Dallas Cowboys fan. And I've been that way ever since.
We need to get Jim Bob on the show, Claude.
I have no idea where Jim Bob is today. He moved before I graduated in 1988. I have no idea where he's at or even who he is today, but I will never forget that obnoxious little turd.
And Jerry, what you have to understand from the part of Oklahoma that Dennis is from, and this goes for most of Western Oklahoma, there are two kinds of people that are born and grow up out there. The ones that stay their whole life and the ones that get as far away from it as they can. So he's probably in Alaska or someplace if he didn't stay around there.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, it's
any small town.
Yeah, it's like being in Wyoming or South Dakota or someplace like it's very, very rural.
I'm in Oklahoma, Anthony. The armpit area. Right, this is the panhandle. I'm right here.
But what I will give you got to get a picture of that. I meant to get a picture, but when I left of that grain, it's not a grain elevator. What is that right behind your house there?
I believe it's a grain elevator.
Is that I thought maybe it's just an old loading for the railroad. An elevator that would load the cars.
There's a pit and a place for I guess it's literally the elevator, the belts that run up through and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it active or no?
No.
This is turn of the century.
It's a wooden one that's covered with corrugated metal.
Yeah,
it would be an interesting subject to model.
Yeah,
I've been meaning to go over there and take measurements. At least get the width and the length of it, and then figure out. Obviously I could measure something on it and figure out the total height. That is a plan of mine.
Says, wait, there are people in Oklahoma. Yeah, most of them are pretty sane too.
Yeah,
as opposed to other places.
Horses to work. At least not most of us. But on occasion, I have to stop in the middle of the highway because they're moving cattle from one side of the road to the other.
Well, I ran into that in Wyoming, almost literally. Yeah, that was a scary moment for my wife.
Is Beef
King? Hey, good morning, Eric.
Yeah. Well, Fred Wild lives. Now, Fred knows what I'm talking about because he lives in. I'm going to forget the name of the town. But he's in like north central South Dakota. So he's up there in the middle of nowhere too. But other than Rapid City that I saw, it's nothing out there. It's pretty wide open. Looked a lot like Western Oklahoma.
Yeah, Heath, call an electrician.
If I were you, Heath, what I would do is get some water, pour it on the floor right underneath where you need to work on your electrical socket. Take your shoes off, stand in the puddle of water, start working. And don't throw the breaker off.
Oh, I can see that. I saw something I wanted to put up here.
No, I was saying good morning.
Oh, here we go. Allie had a comment.
See, there you go.
Yeah. Allie says you don't know wildlife on the road till you've driven in Australia.
Yeah, I bet they have a different variety of wildlife on the road there.
Yeah, they don't get deer across the road, they get kangaroos.
Kangaroo across the road.
Well, the kangaroos probably move on. Well, the kangaroos aren't like the deer where they turn and look at you and just stand there.
Kangaroos are just deer that work out.
Is that what they are?
Yeah.
They go heavy on leg day.
Yeah.
You got some of them out there, Steve?
No kangaroos. We got
no kangaroos. He's got lots of deer though. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll have deer in our backyard here.
Oh, Jeff says they still get it up there. They still move cattle across the road. I thought that was only in Wild West movies. No.
Not only
in Wyoming, I know because I saw it.
Moving literally down the road a half a mile or a mile to put them in a different pasture.
They still do it everywhere out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they will if that's the only way they can get them there.
Yeah.
But if it's out,
That's better than trying to load them up in a truck 10 head at a time and move them a mile.
now they don't take them across the highway.
Yeah.
When I say highway out there, it's a 2-lane highway.
Define highway.
Yeah, well, the 2-lane highway out there.
Out here in the east, I think Jeff is thinking like the major highway, like I-95 or something.
Yeah, not an interstate. No, you would
Not up where Dennis is.
Interstate.
Yeah.
412.
Yeah.
US 412 runs right by Dennis's house. Basically, it's about 2 blocks off that road, but it's only 2-lane out there. The good thing is there's not a lot of traffic on it.
Yeah, there's a good portion of it's 4-lane, but
yeah, there's a lot of it that's 4-lane.
But I doubt a bit that if they felt like they needed to go across it, they would.
What's that about, Steve?
I'm afraid to ask.
Maybe Steve was trying to say something. We were talking all over top of him.
Probably. That's an MO for.
I'm sorry, Steve.
I'm sorry, Steve. What do you have something to say? No.
Maybe we should raise our hands when we want to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now that's the only bad thing about having so many people on here is we tend to talk over each other.
It is kind of hard.
Yeah, we haven't even said anything about a model railroad yet, I don't think.
Wow.
Well, why don't you show us, Dennis, what you got going?
Okay. Let me see if I can make use of a different.
And since Bill's here, I might go upstairs and show a little bit of mine. Of course, if you saw my update, you saw it, but I did get a little more done after the update.
Where's Bill?
Gail Curl. Hello, Gail.
I like this.
Hope you're feeling better. No, it's just like, when we got Shannon on here, I can never talk when Shannon's on here either.
No, that's true. Fred says, if you've seen the most popular brands 10 years after they were popular, you might be from South Dakota. I can understand that. Gail said sometimes she gets a word in. I got a feeling she runs the household.
I think Jeff had a question back here about my whistle. I think I saw something.
That is
Yeah, he wants to know what kind of whistle
you
you
hear
got.
her talk for 20 minutes when she gets home from work.
Well, I have 2 whistles. I have one right here. This little there's a little peanut whistle up here that is really shrill, and my other one's on the other side, so it's kind of hard to see. But if you go back on my videos, probably show it, at some point when I was putting it in. But
Go watch his videos, Jeff.
Here goes the neighborhood.
Oh man!
Oh, see, we were just talking about you.
We have to raise our hands when we want to talk.
Oh, really?
I might as well mute myself now.
No, I was watching a movie and it just finished, and then I saw what time it was. I'm like, oh, I got a link.
Yeah.
Hey Shannon, the next time you get a haircut, can you send me some of them clippings?
I don't think he ever combs his hair.
No, I don't.
I don't think it can be combed. So what are you doing, Dennis?
Well, I'm trying to open it up in my phone so that I can actually use, there we go. I think I'm actually kind of entering now.
Okay.
So what's the topic or the agenda today?
None.
Nothing. Topic.
Kangaroos, wallaby.
Yeah.
We're going to look at Dennis's chair.
What's Dennis getting?
He's going to show us what he's currently working on.
Okay, he's doing that. I'm going to grab what I'm currently working on.
I think he's going to show it to us.
I'm surprised anybody's even sticking with this show this morning.
Where'd it go?
Any suggestions on a pointer app for my iPhone? Bamboo skewers.
That seems to be the popular choice, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, see, Gail's going to answer it for you. So far, it's been about cows, shoes, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's what it's been about.
Yeah.
And she's not wrong.
Well, while that's happening, last week we had a train exhibition near my place, and I had to spend money. So I'm going, you know what? I haven't built a brass kit yet.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I've done so far. And
okay, the tender.
yeah, that's 2 days work there.
So you have to solder all that stuff together?
Yep.
Now, are you using a resistance soldering?
No, low melt solder and a standard soldering iron with temperature control.
Okay.
And a lot of flux.
Wow. How was it to put together?
It's Victorian Railways R class. It's a
No. How was it to assemble? A pain?
So far so
easy? Good. Yeah. Okay.
I haven't started the locomotive yet, but that let's see. That's going to consist of stainless steel for the side rods and stuff, brass, white metal. Not to mention, I am going to make a DCC sound as well. So, as I'm building this, sorry,
you making video?
Nah, I've been doing like an hour here, an hour there, because I'm home. I've been home alone for like the last 2 weeks. Because my family's over interstate.
Hey, is your shirt blue? Is that the lighting?
That'd be pretty interesting video to see.
I never thought of doing a video, but yeah, as I said, there's probably about 6 hours of work there.
Oh, I didn't know that you could get brass like that in a kit form, flat and build it.
Oh, it's a company here in Australia. He's like a cottage business, and he does like a whole lot of plastic kits and brass kits. You know, stuff you can't really get.
It's not to be confused with cottage cheese, Heath.
Yeah.
Where'd all our hosts go?
I don't know.
We're giving you time to talk. Did you not say anything while we were gone?
No,
not really.
But in saying that, so as I said, first kit I'm ever building from start to finish.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yep. This is in preparation for what I'm going to be doing in another few weeks.
What scale is that?
This is HO. But in saying that, in about 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be going down Claude's Avenue of hand laying track.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Building dual gauge points in N scale.
Well, that confirms the fact that you're crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy? No, what's crazy is I spent $1,055 US on one locomotive kit for a K36 in N scale narrow gauge.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. You're
crazy. Yeah.
I love the silence. That silence after I said it.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, you're really crazy now. Okay, here's the dual gauge points aren't a problem. Build a three-way in scale narrow gauge. It's hard enough in HO narrow gauge.
Yeah.
And I don't mean a stub end. I mean a 2.3-way turnout. You're not going to
Remember,
like that.
I built a double crossover in N scale. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Well,
but I
my
built it.
My guess is a double crossover was probably easier.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, here's the issue. You guys have got jigs. I'm only going to be using track gauges and printouts.
Have fun.
Timber diorama, he builds them like that out of.
It can be done. Yeah. Well, the reason I said the 3-way, because there's one of the guardrails in a 3-way, dual point 3-way switch that in HO scale is not hard to do. In HON3, it's very small and it's in a place where it's really tough to get it soldered to a PC tie. And get it soldered well enough, it's not going to break loose later, you know. And you can ask Dennis if we ever get him back. But it's very small part of it. You got to have it there, or the thing's not gonna hit the frog right. Yeah. So,
as I said, because I saw this kit on eBay, and as soon as it popped up, I was looking at it for a whole week, deciding do I not. And then I just bit the bullet, bought the kit. I've already got a little bit of rolling stock. I bought some more rolling stock. I've got to buy Code 55 track. And I'm just going to make a little 2x4.
yeah.
So you're getting into N scale now. Or you
I've
are.
always done an N
Oh, he's
scale.
always had N scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fred Wild says he suggests when you're doing that, you make the frog first and work out from there. Which would probably be pretty good. Oh, Dennis is finally with us on another camera. Okay.
There we go.
See how many more cameras we can get on here. Look at all those clamps. I thought you said you didn't have enough clamps.
You got a lot of clamps, Dennis.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Looks like a forest.
I've definitely got enough clamps to do 2 at a time, which, you can see right over here. From here,
I know what he did.
That's what he was working on.
All the way up to this point right here, I have 2 pieces of spline glued. So I'm going to start work on my third
the table
piece.
edging, or is that what the track's going to be sitting on?
That's what the track's going to be on.
That's what the track's going to be sitting on. But I will do a very similar thing when it comes time to do the fascia. I will use, I'll probably use actual plywood, like 3/8 plywood cut into strips like this that will go the length of the actual fascia, and then glue through those and screw through those for the fascia itself. But there's really not a lot to show that you guys haven't already seen. It's just a matter of, getting everything glued at this point. So
I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to
got
get the track on that.
Do what?
I'm just trying to figure out how's the track going to sit on that.
Well, he's going to have 5 of those laminated together.
It gets wider than that, Shannon.
Yeah, once I get 5 pieces of spline glued together, it will be the same width of the track.
Ah, okay.
You got lumber there to build a house.
It will be this a little bit wider than this right here when it's all said and done. I've just got 2 pieces glued at the moment. I've got 3 more to go.
So the more I look at this, the more I think of how much did you win in the lottery to have all that lumber?
Well, a good portion of it was actually purchased prior to the hike in prices.
So it fell off the back of a truck. I got it.
Right. When I was building the room, I had envisioned on doing something slightly different with the roofing. And so I bought a ton of 1x4s to begin with, and I didn't end up using it. And so I had a large stock of 1x4s that I didn't make use of, until probably 3 months ago.
Oh, Gail just got you.
She must be feeling pretty good, dude.
She's feeling better than.
Is somebody suggesting that I used red lipstick for this? Is that what's going on?
Allie wanted to know if you used. Allie wanted to know if you used Gail's red lipstick, and she said she's too self-conscious for red lipstick. You used your own.
So much for being sick. He's not sick.
Hey, you can be sick in the head.
Oh, too good. Yeah, that's going to be an awesome layout, though. This thing is right here. This point is probably almost 20 feet wide from where you're seeing the camera over to the other side. So it's a nice size layout.
I was going to ask you, Claude, did you put the cars back on the train after you were through?
Did I put them back on the train? No.
Well, I mean, you spotted 3 cars.
Yeah, they were where I left them spotted.
You left them spotted at the side track?
Yeah, and then came back and hooked to the rest of the train, but I don't know what happened there.
I must have did it, but I have no recollection of bringing those cars back and putting them. So I got to look at it.
You're sleepwalking, man.
Yeah, I guess.
See that, Shannon? Okay. That's how much. I don't know. I forget what I was going to say. He's just got lumber piled up all over the place over there.
Yeah. Dennis definitely
this
doesn't
is what
let
Claude helped me with right here. Of course, you can't see it now, but I think you'll be able to see it in the next video. I think you'll get to see what's actually completed here. I had to tear it down so that I could get to everything and glue this bottom run here.
I can't really see what you're pointing to. That pointer's so big, it's pointing to everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the only
says
other
you
thing
got a
you
ghost
guys
with
haven't
red
seen
lipstick
is the framework going across the top of the workbench. I don't think you guys have seen that yet because I think I just did that last weekend.
So Georgia Sunbelt had a really good question. Why is spline roadbed superior? Supposedly,
well, I'm not saying
superior. Well, I'm what's the advantage of it?
Suggesting
Dennis?
it's superior.
What's the advantage of it?
Here's, in my opinion, if you're getting from point A to point B and you're going to end up with a lot of radius curves, spline allows you to do that in a way that you're not wasting a lot of plywood.
Right.
And it creates a natural easement. If you bend something at, like say, a 22-degree radius, at some point going into that 22-degree radius, you're going to have less than 22 degrees. They create their own natural easements without you having to do math or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And so to me,
you'll get
the advantage.
Your curves are going to just flow so nice. Right, your curves are just going to flow so nicely, and you can see it visually.
Exactly. Well, not only that, but your scenery advantages are much greater because you don't have a flat piece of plywood.
Yes.
So you can go up and down much quicker.
That's another
much
thing.
Easier.
Yeah, what you can't see here because I actually hadn't removed the spline, but the trackage that comes in underneath this will actually create a valley on that other end over there, and so you're going to be looking down into scenery at the top of the track level there, and just like what Claude said, if this was just a flat tabletop that I cut out of plywood, that would be a lot more difficult to achieve. And I didn't even try to achieve it. It's just the way it worked out. So I'm going to run with it. And the scenery is going to be just something different that I think I ever would have envisioned it being in there just because I use spline.
Yeah,
no doubt the spline roadbed is a lot of work, but it has advantages.
Yeah, it definitely does have some advantages, I think. I almost wish I'd have done it now because I don't know that it's much tougher than doing, say, like I did mine, which was mainly plywood sub-rope bed, because you got to cut, especially on a helix. A spline helix would be much easier to do than a plywood helix, and a lot less lumber use. Well, it'd be less lumber use for
I
sure.
think it would depend on the radius, because you have to fight spline. If you're doing a 90-degree radius curve with spline, you have to fight it. I don't think I would attempt spline for a helix. I think I would go with the plywood because you have a known radius and you could create that radius
Over and over.
Plywood. Personally,
Well, yeah, that's true.
I just would do a helix.
Decided.
Yeah, it would depend on the radius, but spline is probably most used on large club layouts, because of what Dennis was talking about with your radius on your spline. And I think Steve said it's more prototypical. You know what you said, Steve? Say again?
It's also pretty sturdy.
Yeah, very sturdy.
Yeah,
very sturdy.
Well, with just my 2 cents on it, like looking at it, like I can see where, like I can see the advantages, like, you know, as you said, Dennis, you know, when you can do a valley, like, you know, if you want to do a valley quickly, you just do the whole chicken wire and paper mache trick. You know, like I can see you can basically get the chicken wire, have it upright, staple or nail it into the side, fold it down, and then just let it conform to how it wants to naturally conform.
yeah,
And
that's
whatever gaps
part
left
of the
over,
plan,
whatever gaps left over.
And Heath wanted to know what spline is.
You just fill in.
Well, splines, Fred says spline's also taller, so you would need more clearance between levels of the helix. Well, we were dealing with that, Fred, when I was up there trying to help Dennis. That was the main problem he was having, is getting those 3 tracks almost at the same point, crossing each other, but having enough clearance without putting too much grade on them. And I think we found a happy medium.
I could have probably gone with a 3/4 inch height on the spline. I went with 1 3/4 inches because I figured it would flex less in the up and down axis, if you will, and that would be another thing you'd have to figure that in your, if you're going to do a helix, figure it in a way that your grade is going to be higher with spline helix than it would be with plywood.
Happy Valleys is asking Gail, what other beauty products do you use on your layout? I'm afraid to hear that answer.
I think there's going to be a subject for another video in which I make use of something of the wife's that she doesn't want me to.
So Bernard had a question. Are you 5/8 plywood or 3/4 plywood?
Do what?
5/8 plywood or 3/4 inch plywood?
For
I don't know. What is
well, your yard areas, Dennis.
So the staging yard, I made 3/4 inch. I wanted it to be rock solid, no chance of warpage, yada yada yada. Of course, 3/4 inch plywood is heavy, and on the areas over here, I decided to go with 1/2 inch because I'm cutting away a lot of the plywood after I get the track figured out exactly where it's going to be. I plan on cutting away a lot of, which I already have cut away a lot of it, and I think there's still more I may cut away after I get the track configuration figured out.
The other thing as well is with the size of layout you're doing, like to do it in like how I do mine, small layouts, with the pine framework with foam, the amount of foam you'd go through trying to build something that big is just not conceivable.
Yeah.
So, like, it'd be different if you were making a layout, that just went kind of around the outside of your room with maybe a peninsula, and it was kind of modular. But because you're doing like a massive fixed layout, that it's going to have scenery, it's going to have towns, contours, mountains, trees, you name it. You have like the way you're doing it. I see a lot of advantages.
Now, as I go around the room, I will probably transition to more of I'm not going to do a true modular approach, but there's going to be more foam involved, I believe, than the rest of it, at least in places anyway.
John Tanzillo says his spline thickness is the same as 3/4 plywood. His helixes are also oval. My helix is fairly oval, offset oval. But John's also doing N scale, so slightly smaller than what you're dealing with, Dennis. But yeah, I think you could get by with thinner. But there again, you can also always put an arch on it where a track passes underneath in just one spot instead of doing the whole thing that thin if you wanted to.
But I wanted a nice broad area also to hot glue cardboard to. That was another reason why I wanted the taller spline, because that's one of my plans, is to interweave cardboard glued to it. And then, as I've mentioned before, putting in the Walmart bags and then doing the hard shell scenery over top of that.
So, two things. Heath said plywood's like gold these days. What are you doing cutting other way? Hey, that's what happens when you have a lot of money. Jeff, the railroad enthusiast, wants to know what kind of trains you're going to be running on your layout. It won't be BNSF, CSX, or Norfolk Southern.
Though all of my trains will be Denver and Rio Grande K series prototypes, and or C19s or whatever else that would be typical of the Denver and Rio Grande.
So your hour would be 30s, 40s?
Right now, I'm leaning heavily towards the 30s. I haven't completely made up my mind. Of course,
Right.
my railroad is going to be 100% freelanced. It's
Right.
completely fictitious and made up. I will eventually come out with a fictitious history, probably with characters and everything. Because I'm actually, most of the route is based on the Colorado and Midland, which was standard gauge. But I wanted a narrow gauge railroad, but I didn't want to do another Rio Grande Southern that, you almost every narrow gauge railroad out there, and I'm not knocking, anyone who's doing a prototype, but I could build another Ridgeway. How many modelers have done Ridgeway? How many modelers have ever done Basalt Colorado? I can't think of one that has done Basalt to the level that I'm going to do it. And yeah, you could argue, well, why in the world didn't you just go with the actual Colorado and Midland? Well, I have to be unique.
Yeah, look at this pointer. He's unique. Dennis is
I mean, a guy that comes up with something like this can't just do what's normal.
Listen, right? You could have just laid some plywood down and built your layout, right? But you wanted to be different. You did spline road bed, and you're just, that's the person you are.
Well, it's not like spline road bed hasn't been done by.
No, but most modelers, they're not going to go through all that.
Huh?
They're just not. Most modelers are not going to go through all that.
Well, maybe, yeah.
I don't know maybes about it, man. You're like in the small percentile.
Yeah, I suppose.
Well, that's one of the great things.
Wrong with it. I mean, it's just it's a lot of work.
It is.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the great things about the hobby, though, is you can go strictly prototype and try to actually replicate real areas, real places, in great detail. But it's real hard because at some point you still have to selectively compress, unless you're just doing one small area in real life. You have to compress it at some point. So the prototype eventually gets, whittled away at. By doing your own, what I've found is I can model it after something, but not be tied to doing the exact stuff there. Traveling a mountain area,
They didn't have Walmart.
Anderson, you crazy sucker, you.
They didn't have Walmart back then, Steve. What's the matter with you?
I do have a backstory in mind, but it doesn't involve lipstick, I promise.
or Walmart.
It involves Walmart bags eventually somehow.
You got Gail, Steve. Good job. Oh yeah, that would be good. Anderson's a nut.
Yeah.
Oh, how much time we got left? Oh, we got about 10 minutes. 9 minutes.
We can't go nowhere. Keith has another question. Will you use cork road bed on top of your spline?
That's the plan. Yeah.
Okay.
Now that's the plan right now. We'll see. The first thing I'm going to have to do is sand the top of it and see how smooth it is. Part of me thinks that if I can get it really smooth and there's not going to be any imperfections in the top of the spline itself, I may just glue directly to the spline because it will save money and time. If I don't feel like I can get it smooth enough that I can go directly to the top of the spline, then I would put the cork on there because cork is easy to sand. And it will help get rid of those imperfections. That's my thought at this point.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question. Do you have a spot on your layout that you could do a miniature KDY in narrow gauge? That'd be cool.
Explain KDY.
KDY is in Northern California in the Feather River. It was the Western Pacific, and they had a line that ran up the Feather River Canyon and then out to their main line towards Nevada and Utah, but they added another branch on the trestle that was an extension on the Burlington Northern that ran up to Bieber and connected with the Burlington Northern up in Oregon. And
did you ever run that line?
What's that?
Did you ever run that line?
No, but I got a buddy that did.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you, right now I have an interchange planned for right here.
Mm-hmm.
My thought to this point is that interchange would be with a logging railroad.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look into that and see if it might not fit. I'll definitely look into it because I haven't come up with a prototype of who the interchange would be with.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I just wanted an interchange and that's a good place for it. But I'll look.
Yeah, if you just Google KDY.
Will do.
And you'll see, it's actually kind of unique. I've seen it several times. I got a buddy that retired off the BNSF, and he was running up the Feather River Canyon, and the crew change was right there on the other side of the bridge. And it would be a cool thing to model in narrow gauge. I don't think anybody's ever done it.
What was it? A legit narrow gauge?
Oh no, it's main line. It's standard gauge.
Standard gauge, yeah.
But it's a very unique trestle, very photogenic because it goes over a river canyon, but it splits out of a tunnel. There's a tunnel and it goes right into the Y where one branch goes one way and the other one heads up the canyon up the other way.
Who was it? Happy Valley was asking, is that the Y with two legs on the trestle?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I've seen pictures of that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most photographed spots in all of railroading is right there.
Actually,
if you look it up, you'll see a lot of pictures of it.
Dennis, if you go to my YouTube channel, I've got a video that my friend, when he finally retired, he was able to send me the cab ride video that he took over that trestle from the locomotive. It's kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, if he'd have posted it when he was working, they'd have fired him.
The answer is yes, Heath. I will have at least one, if not two, large trestles on the layout eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Anderson
at least probably 4 other smaller bridges at this point is what I'm thinking.
Steve had asked if you could use a power planer on your splines. I'm sure you could, but
yeah, I don't have a power planer. I do have a handheld belt sander.
Yeah, I think you'd be fine with a hand sander or a belt sander.
That's my plan. I don't want to get too aggressive to begin with.
A little block plane too.
Yeah, like a chunk of wood about 18 inches long is my thought right now.
Yeah, you could just use that. You know, glue some sandpaper or clamp some sandpaper on a board and just. Yeah.
If you use a belt sander, use a high grit. I mean, high number grit, finer grit.
And if I do, it would only be in an area that I felt like it really needed it.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm doing one spline at a time and trying to get everything really lined up so that I don't have too many problems that I'll have to get aggressive with.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon if anything, like obviously with the way you're doing your splines, you're gonna have the ends of the wood. I reckon sand all those areas by hand first, so that way you get it flat, and then run the whole thing with a belt sander, as Claude said, with a high number grit sandpaper.
Yeah,
but the thing with the splines, the things with doing the splines is none of your. It's like, what would you call that? Brick. None of. All your edges do not line up. They're all stacked.
Yeah, it's all overlapped.
Yeah, they're overlapped by at least 8 inches in every place that they.
So you never have 2 butt joints together.
Yeah, but you're gonna have like something like that happening.
Yeah, you may.
Those areas by hand, so it's nice.
That's why you overlap them. If you overlap them enough, what I've been doing is clamping either end with compression clamps. And then doing it again in the middle, so that everything is kind of lined up and straight with each other.
Yeah. So, do you have to build that spline in place, or could you take it somewhere and?
I would say, you need because the radius that you need has to be glued. Once you get 2 pieces glued together, you're not moving it again. And once you get 3 glued together, it's solid.
Yeah, so it's all part of the layout.
Am I building my splice through bridges? Yeah, absolutely. Once I figure out where the bridges are, I will shore up either end of where the bridge will be and then just hacksaw out. And even if it's on a radius, what will happen is that the spline will maintain the radius. I can put that on a piece of paper, draw the radius on the piece of paper, and I've got a ready-made template for my bends.
Yeah, because once you get that all glued together and you get 5 pieces in there, you could cut the center of it out, and it's going to stay like that. It's not going to want to flex back out. The problem with doing the spline like you were having and needing extra hands is figuring out where this thing's going to be, because you're not gluing it together yet. It's up there. It's very flimsy. And once you get that set, then you're like he is now, then you're good to go, because you can just go ahead.
So Heath wants to know how many plywood are you using. He's not using plywood to make the splines. He's using hardboard, right?
Yeah, it's masonite hardboard.
You want hardboard.
I'm going with 5, unless I think I need a 6th.
So you're gluing 5 1/8-inch thick or 1/4 inch thick?
Quarter inch. Yeah, 1/4 inch hardboard. I believe they're 1 3/4 depth.
Right, tall.
And 5 of them glued together.
Yeah, right.
I use a biscuit joiner at major sections of my joint spline since it was 24 splines wide. Wow. John, do you have video of that construction?
Wow, that's pretty wide. That's huge.
Well, John's in scale.
Yeah.
And I know he's got a fantastic railroad.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a lot of dual track too, dual line, so you'd have to be a lot wider. I was trying to get that. Copied. I don't think there's no way I can copy it on here. So, but I'm assuming.
What?
Tell us what that link is, Steve.
Well, I was trying to put a link to that trip over the canyon bridge, but it sent a link to my channel. But if you Google on YouTube a few trips through the Feather River Canyon 2017, you'll get 2 videos. Part 1 and part 2. So they're actually kind of cool.
Well, we're actually over our time now. So we probably ought to sign off. And Bernard. Oh, no lack of humor in this group, that's for sure.
No.
All I know is I can blame this person up here for getting me into HON3, which is now moved to NN3. I can blame the person over in that corner for finally getting my package sent.
Yeah, fine.
Oh, that was like Christmas then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it will be once it arrives.
Yeah.
My answer to that, Anthony, is absolutely. Masonite will only take so much of a radius before it will break. It's messy, or not. I mean, homosote will only take so much of a radius before it breaks. It's very messy to cut, and I would go Masonite over homosote any day of the week for the flying road bed person. It's also strong. I think there's far more advantages to the Masonite over the homosote. In fact, I would say personally, the only thing I could think of that homosote would have over Masonite is that you can run a track pin directly into the homosote. That's the only advantage I can think of.
Well, it'll be a little bit quieter, but not enough to make it worth the mess.
It would be quieter too, yeah.
Now, I've got some homosote on mine, and I'd only use it where I'm laying it flat in a big spot. But I also used 1/4-inch cork on sheet on top of plywood to get yard area too. So, but we're over our time here, guys.
All right, guys.
We'll have to continue this next week.
Good.
Maybe
anyway, thanks
start earlier with the railroad stuff in the program.
Steve and Shannon and Jerry and
Thanks,
Dennis
everybody.
and everybody in chat. Good to see you guys, and everybody have a good week, and we'll see you next weekend.
See you next week, guys.
See y'all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.